Okay, let's talk about how to take up space and stop shrinking yourself around others. So tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Like you might be in a room with others, whether it's virtual online or physically in the space, and suddenly you're like super aware of yourself. Like you speak a little softer, or you hold yourself back, you take up a little bit less space. Maybe you keep your opinions quiet or you water yourself down, like just enough to fit. You don't want to be standing out too much. Now, of course, you know you're capable of more, but around certain people, you sort of just tend to shrink. And if that has landed with you, this video is definitely for you. So, before we go any further, I want you to hear this with kindness. Like, the reason that we shrink in life, and we've all probably been in situations where we've done that, is not because we are weak. We shrink because at some point in our life, it felt safer to be small, to play small. And your brain makes this connection like, if I just minimize myself enough, like I'll be accepted. If I'm too much, I'm going to be judged negatively, of course. And so you learn to take up less space, whether it's emotionally, verbally, physically, energetically. Not that there's anything wrong with us. It's like a pattern that once protected us in the past. And of course, we're probably outgrown it or are ready to outgrow it. So I want to teach you how to do that. Because most people, I would say, are not living life as their fullest self. They're living as the most acceptable version of themselves that they can put up with without, driving themselves crazy. It's still like good enough. And we're taught from a young age that being liked is more important than being real. We're taught don't be too loud, don't be too confident, don't be the show off, don't be too opinionated, don't be too emotional, don't be too ambitious. All of those, little stories that we get told. And so as a consequence, we shrink to be liked, we don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable, and to avoid taking up space that sometimes we secretly long to claim or need to claim in order to step forward towards our goal. And so the truth that I want to offer you, that I hope that you're ready to hear, is that shrinking doesn't actually protect you anymore. Probably hasn't for a long time. It only disconnects you from yourself and from others and from your dreams and then from the life that is trying to find you, that needs you to show up in a bigger, bolder way. Okay. And so when you shrink, people just don't get to experience the real you. All they're getting is that edited, diluted version of yourself. And whether it's in your relationships or opportunities or respect or joy, like that you simply can't get, okay, it's because no one can give it to you if they're not seeing the real you. And so why do we shrink? Why is it so hard just to be ourselves, around others, to be a little bit bolder? It's because our nervous system has been trained to link that visibility with danger. And so for many women, especially, like childhood conditioning sounded like, be a good girl, don't make a scene, don't rock the boat, don't brag, oh my gosh, don't be a show off. What are people going to think? That's a favorite. Or be polite, be pleasant. And so the message was our value is in being easy, agreeable, low maintenance, non disruptive. And as adults, might have worked fine for our parents to keep us all, like super easy to mold. But as adults, we grow up and we turn it into holding back our true, honest opinions so no one else disagrees. Laughing off compliments so you don't seem too cocky. It's like, oh, downplaying, oh, it wasn't that good, even though you're secretly proud of yourself. Or dressing down because you don't want to stand out. Or apologizing for things that don't even require an apology. Maybe it's even minimizing achievements so others feel more comfortable. Okay, I'm guilty of all of those things at times. And our brain, your brain, my brain, has learnt visibility equals risk. Authenticity equals exposure. And so it keeps you small and quiet and agreeable because familiar feels safe. But safe, so I'm going to say doesn't feel fulfilling at times. It doesn't always. It doesn't mean you are fulfilled just because you're keeping yourself safe inside your comfort zone. And so the consequences of doing this to yourself, like shrinking yourself, is that you live in a little smaller box than you were ever built for. You edit your words before they leave your mouth. You second guess everything you want to say or wear or do because you're scanning for how others are going to perceive it. What are people going to think? And so you stay quiet when your heart wants you to speak and you're not alone, not along maybe, even if you don't agree, and you apologize for things that aren't even your fault. And so it's like almost this invisible exhaustion. Sometimes we're tired before we even get out of bed. And it's a kind that builds from constantly monitoring your own existence. And over time, that shrinking becomes muscle memory. And so you don't even almost like notice it when you're doing it anymore. All you do is feel drained and muted and vaguely disconnected from who you know you could be or desire to be. And so the natural consequence of playing small is that you live like, it's almost like a half life. You attract surface level relationships because no one gets to ever meet the real you. Opportunities pass you by because you're still waiting to feel ready. Or your confidence erodes quite simply because every time you silence yourself, you reinforce that belief in yourself that your presence is somehow too much or doesn't even count. And perhaps most painfully is that you begin to forget what your own unfiltered version of self even sounds like or looks like. You haven't even been in contact with her for so long. So playing small like protects you in the short term, but long term it's going to cost you your aliveness, I promise you. And so just to offer you some mindset shifts to help you stop shrinking is you probably need this as a reminder that being liked is not the same as being respected. You can be liked for being agreeable, but you're respected for being real. Taking up space also doesn't make you too much, just makes you honest. Your presence isn't a burden, it's your contribution. Another little reframe or mindset shift is understanding that if you're light, if who you are at a core makes someone else feel uncomfortable, they can be the one to adjust. You don't have to adjust. You don't see other people out there always shrinking, like in order to make you happy. And so why should you shrink who you are just to fit inside their comfort zone, which could be limiting in so many ways? The other thing I want you to understand is that self-expression is not selfish. You showing up fully is a gift to the world. It's not a threat. The other thing is your voice and your desires and your goals and your needs matter just as much as everyone else's. Why does everyone else get to do their own thing and speak their truth and state their desires and go for their goals? Yours matters not just as much, not more, not less, just equally. We're all the same. The other thing is the right people won't be intimidated by your growth. They will be inspired or supportive. The rest you can filter out, and they can filter themselves out almost naturally, and that's okay. Now consider that you are done apologizing for just existing. No more sorry for taking up space or speaking or asking or needing or having preferences. Okay, we all don't need to apologize for those things. And the room and the world will expand when you do. Your expanding does not take away space from anyone else. Okay, it just creates more space for truth. And if you want a life aligned with who you truly are, you have to show her to the world. You can't ever receive aligned opportunities while showing and presenting a watered down version of yourself to the world. You also don't need to earn space. You already belong here. Your existence is proof enough. You're a human. You got a precious life. Okay, you're in the game. And so just to gently, very gently, get you to expand, I'm going to offer you a little step-by-step thing. Step 1 is notice where you shrink. Pay attention to when that happens. Around who? Like in what settings? Awareness gives you a choice. The next is, okay, I'm all for like small baby steps. Practice just 1% more presence. Don't aim for like crazy boldness. Just start with that small expansion. Speak an extra sentence. Hold eye contact for a little bit longer. Share one honest opinion. Sit or stand taller. Okay, your nervous system needs that gentle evidence that visibility is safe. The next thing is step 3. Let silence be shared, not filled. Shrinking often shows up in over-explaining, over-apologizing, buffering awkwardness, and like just blabbing on for the sake of blabbing. Practice letting silence exist without rushing to make other feels comfortable. Let them. If they want to fill in the silence, that's okay. You don't have to anymore. The next is celebrate self-expression, not outcome. Your win isn't whether everyone approves of you. The win is when you honor yourself. Approval is external. Expression is internal. Okay, so choose the one that builds self-trust, which is honoring yourself. And your little mini challenge for this week is just choose one setting where you tend to shrink. Maybe it's a family event or a social setting, work meeting, online, whatever, with certain people, and ask yourself, what would taking up just 1% more space look like right now? And then do it. Not loudly, doesn't have to be aggressive, just gentle expansion. And watch how your body responds. Okay, and celebrate the act, not the reaction. And if this has spoken to you, like to something deep inside you, and you want more support building self-trust and taking aligned action without overthinking or pressure, I've created a great free guide to help you. It's going to walk you through 5 thought shifts that are going to help you move very gently and powerfully in the direction of your dreams. You're going to find the link in the description. And as you always know, deeper support can be found inside Inspiring Life Academy, that has lifetime access to all 90 plus courses and coaching roadmaps that I've ever created in my business. But in a nutshell, okay, the thing that I want you to know is that you were not born to be small. Okay, you were just conditioned to play small or to shrink or whatever. And you get to relearn that. Okay, one tiny self-honoring step at a time. Slowly and surely, my friend, will always win the race. And I always say, do everything with lots of compassion for yourself. Take care, and I can't wait to catch you in the next video.